All right, guys, before you go buy a rooftop tent, you need to watch this video. You know, rooftop tents are super expensive. It can be really tough picking out just the right one. And so I've done hours of hours of research, just looking at, what features are most important, really what you need to consider before buying a tent. And after all of that, I think without a doubt, hardshell rooftop tents are the way to go. So with that said, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of the hardshell tent and maybe help decide if it's right for you or not. So let's get into it. The first pro I wanted to get into is the better gas mileage you receive with a hardshell tent. So a lot of these designs are super thin, 7 inches sometimes, which is just so sleek. It looks really, really good. And when you're driving on the highway, you're gonna have way less wind resistance because it's so aerodynamic. And another thing, it's gonna be quiet too. So, a lot of soft shell tents have that PVC cover that sits on top of the tent when it's folded up. It can flap around in the wind, it can be a little noisy. That's not a thing with the hard shell tent. So that's definitely something to consider. The next thing I wanna move forward to is leaving your bedding in the tent. So if you haven't used a rooftop tent, you might not even consider this, but if you have been an owner in the past, like a foldable tent sometimes, if you have a mattress topper in there for added comfort, or you just wanna leave your pillows in there or some bedding, with a foldable tent, sometimes it won't be able to fold all the way, and it could just be tedious and frustrating having to always take all that stuff out, pack it in the car, and then go, and just do this repeatedly every time you use it. Well, with the hard shell tent, most of them are designed to just close with the bedding in there. So you can leave your pillows in there and the bedding, and it'll be okay. It'll shut completely, and it's just so much easier this way. You're still gonna have to take it out every couple trips or however frequently you want to wash it and let the tent air out a little bit, but nonetheless, you're not gonna have to take it out every time, and it's gonna save you a lot of time, and it's actually really, really nice. The next thing is hardshell tents have like a really good variety of style actually. And by this I mean, 5 years ago, be it the tents mostly would either be a clamshell or just a regular old pop-up. And now you even have some hybrid designs where they can pop up and then have like a foldable component so you can fit up to 4 people in there. I just think this variety of style is so nice. With soft shells, you have like a couple styles, but at the end of the day, you're really limited to it just unfolding and that's it. But with the hard shell, you really can like pick what you want as far as style goes. And I think this is really useful. Once you look at the different designs, you'll see, kind of get a better feel of what you like best. And hard shells just are wide open in this space. Another thing is headspace when you get in the tent. So a lot of times, if it's a foldable tent, the corners will be pretty narrow and close to the ground, so you can't obviously sit up and feel comfortable in there. But in the apex of the tent, your head's not gonna be hitting the top. But with hard shells, you're gonna have a lot more headroom, especially for a clamshell or a pop-up. You can sit up and be comfortable, move around, maybe even get on your knees and crawl around in there and be a little bit more comfortable. And I just think that's something to consider. If you're a taller guy or just want the extra head space, the hard shell will provide that for you. The probably biggest thing I think this is awesome for is like if you're really huge into like adventures and bringing other equipment, you need to have a hard shell tent so you can put a rack on top of the tent. So a lot of these tents you can attach either a bike or a kayak, a paddleboard, a snowboard. Any of these things you can attach to the top of your tent super easily and bring it along so you can actually camp in your tent that is, and also use this fun equipment that you want to go and bring. So that's such a nice feature to have. And I'd say 95% of the soft shells just don't provide that for you. Another thing is just the effortless setup. So, because hard shells are assisted by gas struts, all you have to do is unclip the clamps that keep it closed and just give a nice light push up, and the gas struts will push the tent up for you. I mean, it's effortless. You can get this set up in less than like 60 seconds at times, and it's just so easy. And that's what the best part about it is. The last pro I wanted to go over is its durability. So rooftop tents in general are very durable, and that's why they're so expensive. They're made from quality materials, but especially hard shells. The shell of a tent is usually made of some type of fiberglass and or some like aluminum cover, depending on which one you go with. And these things are so dang durable. You're not going to see wear and tear on the cover. The seal that keeps the tent closed is so much tighter than Velcro or a zipper. So you dust, mud, you don't have to worry about any water ever getting in there. It's just a way better option. So, while the price is a factor, you have to consider that your tent's probably gonna last a lot longer if it's a hard shell. Just, because of the design, and the cover is just far superior than any soft shell can provide. With all of that said, let's move to a couple of cons. Now, if you're price sensitive, you're on a budget like many of us are, this can be a tough decision for you. I mean, rooftop tents are already expensive as is, and maybe you're just looking to enter the rooftop tent world, and that's totally fine. I think a soft shell tent can definitely get that done for you. And not to say that they're not high quality, they're great tents. But if you spend the extra money on a hardtop, you will see the value. It is worth it. But that is obviously a negative. I mean, they're super expensive. $3,000 just to enter the hard shell market, upwards to $4,000, maybe $5,000 if you're getting crazy, $1,000. So it's something to consider. Another con is like the limited sizing options. So most hard shell tents, I'd say like 80 to 90% are gonna be able to fit like 3 people. So, if you have a larger family, this might not be the option for you. It really just depends on your lifestyle. There are a couple of examples of 4-person hard shells. They're very rare and will cost you a pretty penny, but it is an option. But it definitely is a limitation, because of the fixed footprint. So when a hard shell pops up, that's it. You don't add any, extra space. But obviously a foldable soft shell RTT, you pop it open, it just doubled its size, and now you can fit that much more space into it. So it's something to consider. It is a slight downside, but with everything that goes into it, overall hardtop tents are the way to go. There's no doubt about it. If you can afford it, send it, do it. And if you guys have found this helpful, I would highly recommend going to rooftentinsider.com/shell. Here you can find my favorite hard shell rooftop tents, the reasoning I decided to go through that, some pictures, a lot more details, and an in-depth dive on these certain things. And guys, I don't have any bias on this. I just want to be helpful. So if you go to my website and check it out, I think you'll find even better options there and a little bit more details about what's the right buy for you. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it.